So hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar presentation on deep exploration for design communication. My name is Michael Sharp and I'm the International Account Manager for Right Connect. We are the Asia Pacific distribution partner for Right Hemisphere software. This is the final module in the Right Hemisphere webinar program. I hope you've enjoyed the webinar so far and they've given you some new ideas to take back to your company. Some of you might recognize some of these first few slides, but I promise we'll get to the new part soon. Just for housekeeping, we've muted all your microphones, but if you have any questions, please use the chat window and go to training, and we'll try to address them at the end. Alternatively, you can email us questions afterwards, and we'll respond to you either directly or through our partners. Okay, so let's have a look at what we'll cover today. First of all, I'll give you a brief introduction to Right Hemisphere, their product range, and the concept of visual communication. I'll then talk about how deep exploration and the free plugin Deep View can enable design communication with stakeholders all over the world. As we're all about visual communication here, I will then hand over to our technical manager, Madan, who will show you a live demonstration. And finally, I'll take you through a customer success story to show you how one of our clients is using Right Hemisphere software for design collaboration. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Right Hemisphere. Right Hemisphere is the world leader in visual communication. You may not have heard much about visual communication or Right Hemisphere before in the Asia Pacific, but we believe that's going to change soon. Right Hemisphere was founded in New Zealand in 1997, but from day one they started actively developing a customer base in the US, and now they're based in California. This is because the US is where the largest and wealthiest product development companies are, which in technology we call the early adopters. This is a great strategy because these companies funded the research and development so Right Hemisphere could create a whole family of products to take to the wider market. They've been very successful in America, and you can see some of their customers on the screen. Another thing I can tell you is that out of the 8 largest defense and aerospace companies in the USA, 6 of them are using Right Hemisphere software for visual communication. Now Right Hemisphere, through my company Right Connect, is proactively developing the Asia Pacific market. We're very excited to be bringing one of the world's fastest growing technologies to the world's fastest growing market. I'll now take you through Right Hemisphere's key products. Firstly, Deep Exploration is the desktop tool that enables users to create visual communication material like animations, renderings, and technical illustrations. Many of Right Hemisphere's large customers have created so much material with Deep Exploration that they need a way to manage that data. This is where Deep Server comes in. Deep Server is a 3D content management solution that's fully integrated with PLM and ERP solutions. It also automates some of Deep Exploration's manual processes. One of the Right Hemisphere products I'm most excited about is the free viewer Deep View, which I strongly suggest you download from the Right Hemisphere website. Deep View is more than just a viewer, because not only has it got pull apart, cross-section and animation functionality, but it has fully savable markup functionality. It's also very well integrated with Microsoft Office applications, so we'll send you the download link after the webinar. I encourage you to try it out. So let's think about why so many people were excited about Right Hemisphere. If you think about the process of bringing new products to the market, you can split it up into 2 phases. Firstly, there's product design and development, and then there's taking the product to market. This next phase involves developing manufacturing systems, training workers, sourcing suppliers, developing marketing collateral, making user and service manuals, and everything else that goes into supporting the product once it hits the market. For the last 20 years, product development companies have invested heavily in CAD software, which have significantly reduced the time it takes to develop new products. However, the benefits of these systems are really limited to CAD users and the engineering department. Also, as CAD is now ubiquitous, it's become part of the infrastructure. So any further software investment in additional CAD licenses is unlikely to lead to any real competitive advantage. We believe that the next big efficiency gains will happen by integrating the wider business into the product development process earlier. This means allowing manufacturing, service and support, and marketing to start their work concurrently with engineering, and also to allow them to contribute to the design process. Software investments in this area have the best potential to lead to a return in better product design processes and a faster speed to market. We strongly believe that visual communication is the key to this next level of performance. So what is visual communication? Visual communication is an exciting new paradigm shift to convey complex product information faster and more effectively across language, cultural, and educational barriers. You're not writing or talking about your product. With visual communication, you can show people what your product looks like, how it's manufactured, and how it behaves. This is a paradigm shift because people are realizing now that the key to successful product development isn't just about creating 3D models in the CAD software, but it's also about how these CAD models are utilized throughout the wider organization. There's been some interesting recent research in this area, which I'll tell you about shortly. With Right Hemisphere's visual communication software like Deep Exploration, users in all functional business areas have access to the CAD data to create the deliverables they need to bring the products to market. Deep Exploration has specific solutions for sales and marketing, service and support, manufacturing, and design collaboration. As Right Hemisphere is CAD independent, Deep Exploration can open CAD files in a huge range of formats. It also has one of the best rendering engines in the world and a very intuitive technical illustrations and animation functionalities. Deep Exploration and the free plugin Deep View have fully capable markup functionalities which allow product development teams to collaborate with design stakeholders who are often distributed around the world. I'll go into some more detail about this shortly. So that's a bit of background on visual communication, Deep Exploration, and Right Hemisphere. But now let's take a closer look at the value Deep Exploration offers for design communication. First, let's look at some design communication challenges. With the pace of new product development activity these days, companies need to work as fast as they can just to remain competitive. They also need to comply with a broad range of national and international standards and regulatory authorities. This means that non-engineering feedback from both internal and external stakeholders needs to be captured as early in the process as possible to avoid any costly downstream adjustments. With the growing reliance on international suppliers and contract manufacturers, these stakeholders are more geographically distributed than ever. There are also educational, language, and cultural barriers to overcome. So let's take a closer look at how Right Hemisphere's software products, Deep Exploration and Deep View, can help you to overcome these challenges. With Deep Exploration, you can create super lightweight Right Hemisphere files for design collaboration from your native CAD software. You can also create visual communication content like renderings, animations, and technical illustrations that demonstrate what your product looks like and how it moves and how it's assembled. And animation is the easiest way to communicate complex product information across geographic, cultural, and language barriers. One of our clients has manufacturing facilities in Mexico and Thailand. Can you imagine how difficult it would be to explain to someone in Mexico or Thailand how to assemble your product would be over the phone? With Deep View, any design stakeholder can not only view the deliverables that you've created, but they can fully interrogate your product model, no matter how complex it is. Deep View has a pull-apart tool, cross-sectioning, multiple view formats, which make it easier to gain a clear picture of your design features. Once they've reviewed the product, Deep View has the ability to provide feedback in the form of markups that can be saved and returned to the product development manager. This has enabled our clients to engage with the widest possible community as early in the design process as possible. By capturing feedback early, they can make minor adjustments to the geometry in the CAD system, which avoid major reworkings later on in the process. One of the world's major market research companies, the Aberdeen Group, has recently conducted a study of the behaviours of best-in-class product development companies. This study showed that not only do the best-in-class companies use 3D visualizations throughout their design reviews, but they consistently standardized and targeted the design review process. One of the interesting things that it found was one of the most common KPIs that they're using was the number of non-engineering stakeholders that a product development team solicited for feedback in the product design process, with specified minimums in regulatory compliance or regulatory affairs, marketing, and manufacturing. I thought that was an interesting finding. And there's no reason smaller product development companies couldn't adopt the same approach. A number of our clients have established Deep View as a standard viewing platform across their whole supply chain, so every employee or supplier they interact with interact with has Deep View installed on their system. As I said, because we're all about visual communication here, I'll now pass you over to our technical manager, Manan, who will take you through a presentation, a demonstration on how deep exploration and Deep View can be used in visual communication and design collaboration.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, everybody. Over the next 15 minutes, I will demonstrate how deep exploration and Deep View can be used in design communication. The demonstration flow would be overview of deep exploration, creating, viewing, and editing markups, communicate and collaborate via Deep View, use of animations in design communication, and finally, publishing all these outputs in different formats like PDF, AVI, HTML format, and so on. The subject of the demonstration is the dirt motorbike. This design was created in SolidWorks, and we have seamlessly accessed the same in deep exploration. Deep exploration really works with quite different formats of files, different CAD data. Here's a huge list. It's really quite difficult to tell what is not there in the list. As you can see, it's quite a detailed design. From the information panel, we see that this has a little over 308 parts and components. Just above the information panel are the scene tree. Here these folders represent the different sub-assemblies. We can enable and disable them by the checkbox. Now, it might be quite the case that a designer is looking at this file for the first time and not familiar with the design. For the very reason, deep exploration features a pull-apart tool. This tool allows users to play around with the design to get a little more detail into it. Once having seen and reviewed all this, they can really toggle back onto the home position of all these parts. As you would expect from any CAD visualization tool, users can quickly toggle between a variety of modes, including the shaded, transparent, solid wireframe, line illustration, solid outline, and many more. We can also display these in different viewports. We can always leverage on a 4-view viewport, which is most popular with CAD users based on the CAD background that you already have. We could toggle between the grid systems with simple keyboard shortcuts. We could again toggle between different other viewports as we find really convenient. For this demonstration, I'm going to stay with a single viewport. We can also toggle between perspective views and toggle back onto the home position, and the normal orthographic views like the top view, front, left, right, bottom with simple keyboard shortcuts there. I would like to go through markups and animation in this demonstration. Deep exploration has tab system to access different commands. As you can see, when I toggle between the different tabs, it gives me the logical toolbars and the workflow that I would like to create. Here are the measure toolbars. And when I toggle to notes and detail view, it gives me all relevant toolbars and commands that is required in terms of creating notes, commands, detail views, and so on. Let's have a look at a markup view that I've already created. Within the design process, markups are very important. They allow engineers to communicate designs to each other, send these files to engineering managers to review, validate, and provide feedback. Typically, markups can include notes, sketches, images, dimensions, detail views, and cutouts. Cutouts can give a further insight there, as we can see as an example. Here is one of the detail view and an attention drawing towards the hub design to be sent for a review. Similarly, There are these nodes that can be minimized. Here it draws attention on the clamping stress that is involved in the clamp. Here there's another dimension that's inquiring about what could be the allowable tolerance. These are really quick and easy to create. I'm going to go ahead and show you how we can create one of these. Let me orient the model conveniently for me to view all those that is required. I can create a detail view, drag and drop it. I also want to add a note here, bringing in attention about the foot grip. And there we go. This was about detail view, and these detail views are very, very interactive. You can zoom in, zoom out, orient the one that gives the best clarity, and so on. We could also minimize all these. And when you minimize, it gives you a rough indication that there is a detail view available there. As soon as we click in there, we get the detail view opened up for us. Similarly, we can control all these with different options, like I want to create it with a circle with an arrow and see a ready feedback there. If I really wanted a solid pointer or a solid arrow, it gets updated there up front. About adding dimensions, say I would want to gain attention towards these two faces and add a quick dimension there. And this entire thing, I can go ahead and save it in one of our model portfolios. I just say create a model view. I would say force review. I could name the portfolios as well. I say support, and so on. Now these files can be saved in back and opened in deep view for further collaboration with suppliers, vendors, engineering managers, and so on. I'm going to go ahead and save this file as a copy of it. It's an RH file which is very lightweight. Often design teams work on projects or design using different CAD tools, which usually happens to be of a large in data size. With deep exploration, design teams can share a lightweight RH file for review and validation from managers, suppliers, vendors, and clients. We have a free viewing tool that's called Deep View that can be downloaded from the website. As Michael rightly said earlier, we strongly recommend you to do that. As a technical manager, all I've got to do is take the file, just drag and drop it into Deep View environment. It's pretty easy. I have just drag and drop. Here are all the markups that we just created in. We have a detailed view. Over on to the left, we have the scene tree similar to deep exploration. I can enable and disable components. Before going into that, let me just minimize all these for better clarity. I can just right click on these detail views and close them. Most logical views for me would be onto this. So here's the overall bike, and these are few of the model views that we have already created, and so on. Now let's go back to some of the markups that wanted my attention as a technical manager for me to review and append the comments back. They are all available down in here in just a click of a button. Before going ahead with that, I would want to show you some of the further capabilities that's available in Deep View, as in the pull apart. Since I am not daily involved with the design, I really need to pull it apart to get a better insight on this. Deep view enables me to do several other functions, like it can enable me to create sections, flip them for better visibility, interact with them further. I could also generate it in several different axes. And once I have reviewed all this, I can even visually compare between the different other motorbike designs that has been already created. The standard views like the shaded, the transparent, all that is available in deep exploration is also available for me to access it. One of the best tools is that I can create a selective X-ray on these components for me to just go ahead and review how the two components have got assembled and what are the intricacies of this design. It's logically called as an X-ray tool. And when we are really collaborating visually, we can also put this into a full screen mode wherein it gives the full view of the whole motorbike itself. Now coming back to the different model views that we have created and the markups that we need to append on. Let's create one of these. I would want to append one of these comments, and I would want to edit it to be increase the wall thickness to 8 mm. Now all I need to do is just go back and save this file. Save this file as an RH file. And in a few minutes we would be able to access the same thing in deep exploration for us to go ahead and see how the appending of these comments have been created for designers to further work on them. Here's a file that we just edited. And here we go, and the comment that we have added and then appended in deep view has really come in back. It's just not about me as a technical manager. The same can be done by vendors, suppliers, and clients, wherein the deep view is just a free downloadable tool. Now further moving, let me hide all of these. I further want to collaborate with my designers. Here you can see there is a conversation. As soon as I get into my conversation, it shows me my login ID, the date in which I have logged in, what is the kind of comment that I have created. I can create fresh comments or conversation. I want to draw an attention towards the component, say I would like to have an online review. There's a typo there. Let us review this with the class 16. One is that I save all these with model views, or I can even directly send the web meeting link to the people. There we go, and then we've got the link to this. And when this file is really sent back and saved, it can be opened in RH, and my designers would be able to access this file and attend the meeting for further review with others. And this is how we collaborate using deep exploration and deep view. These can also be used to educate and train people. Some of our customers have reported that they have reduced the training time by 50%. That was pretty much about markups that we can use via deep exploration and deep view. Some of our non-technical people have also started using deep view, as in this is one of the purchase orders, which is a Microsoft Excel file. Deep view enables these with adding interactive thumbnails, So this would supplement along with the part numbers, the transaction number, the part name, and so on. It gives a better clarity on this. Similarly would be the case with the Word, wherein GPU adds these plugins to create interactive thumbnails. Those were a few of the examples of different outputs that we can create in. Now let's go ahead and see how we can leverage on the animation capabilities in deep exploration to further explain how all the design works or how the design has been created. One of the basic needs for animations is to virtually simulate the design logic of parts and assemblies for superior understanding of the design. Animations are very important proven tool for designers. It's yet another pinnacle in visual communication. As I earlier said, this also can be used for training purposes, and some of the customers have realized a 50% reduction in their training times. And there we go with the complete description of our motorbike and visually communicated by deep exploration. Now these animations are very simple to be created. Here you see there on the screen. And I can go ahead and create a very simple, quick animation for you. Looking at one of these parts. And if we really want to create an animation down here, I just create a sequence, activate it. Now a quick sequence of moving all these parts. So I just want to hold this part, move it out. That was one of the steps of the movement. In the other step, I really just want to ensure that this moves in another direction. And there we go. The bush gets disassembled in this direction. The best portion is I can stop it, interrogate, have a better detail on this, and so on. And in case I want it, assembly sequence is the same. All I got to do is just duplicate and reverse it. You can imagine how many static images or how much of written text should be required to completely explain how this motorbike works. Instead of that, we could create such interactive animations to explain how the entire product works. Now these animations can be saved in different formats. One of the commonly used format would be a HTML file. They are again very, very interactive, and they are again deep view enabled. We can perform the same functions we saw in deep view. We can create measurements. We can pull apart all the parts. We can take sections. We can view the steps and so on. Similarly, another type of output would be a PDF. They are again very interactive. It gives the complete bill of material and the quantity. We would be able to go ahead and activate the same steps that they are available there. And we see those steps very, very interactive. We can zoom in, review it, and so on. Also, another output that we can create is an AVI movie. Here is one of the AVI movie of all the steps and procedures that I have created via deep exploration and embedded this in a PowerPoint presentation. The same step and procedure that we saw in deep exploration is depicted, and we have an output of an AVI movie embedded in a PowerPoint. Well, this was a pretty quick overview of markup and animation capabilities in deep exploration and deep view. This helps us create visual communication for complex design and be presented in a very simple format that everybody is able to understand globally. Now, how about hearing few customer success stories from Michael?
Thank you, Madam. I hope you guys enjoyed that demonstration. I certainly did. Got some good ideas you can take back to your company as well. Right, so I will now tell you about one of our customers who's using deep exploration and deep view for design communication. The example that we're looking at today is an international tool and die maker. they are designing a wide range of products for diverse international customers. Many of these projects are highly customized because different customers obviously require different tools and dies. The challenge the company faces is trying to communicate their product designs more effectively in order to improve collaboration and speed up design decision making. To do this, they need to improve their internal communication between engineers, managers and salespeople, as well as their external communication with customers. So let's take a look at how this company is using deep exploration and deep view to address these challenges. Firstly, they use deep exploration's markup and animation functionalities to create visual communication content. Then they use deep view to share the content and get feedback from the field. That way, everyone who's involved in the design decision-making process has access to the complete design. They can use deep exploration or deep view to view the product design, make comments, make detailed views or cross-sections, and share the markups with everyone else. You can see an example of one of their markups on the screen with a detailed view. This has significantly improved design communication and collaboration because all functional areas contribute to the design based on their areas of expertise. Furthermore, deep exploration's animations are particularly helpful for communicating complex product information to their customers. I'll show you an example of one of their animations. It's a plastic cap, and it's just showing the mechanism that the machine uses to close the cap in the machine. This animation is quite long, and if it's slow on your machine, it just because it's over the web meeting. So I'll play the full presentation at the end, and if you want to see the whole thing, you can stick around and have a look. So what is the benefit to the client? By using visual communication content created in deep exploration to communicate their designs internally as well as externally, the company was able to achieve some significant value. These were significantly improved design communication and collaborations with both internal and external stakeholders, and improved design decision making. It also leads to better understanding of complex product design, clearer feedback with fewer misunderstandings, and improved relationships with the customers. They also told us that using visual communication reduced their need for client visits, which were quite often international, which is an unexpected cost saving. So let's have a look at what we've covered today. First of all, I introduced Right Hemisphere, their product range, and the concept of visual communication. We talked about deep exploration and deep view and how they enable design communication with stakeholders all over the world. And our technical manager, Madan, showed you a great demonstration of deep exploration and deep view. Finally, I took you through a customer success story about how one of our clients is using Right Hemisphere software for design collaboration. I hope you enjoyed the presentation today. As I said, this is the final module in the Right Hemisphere webinar program. If you have any questions, please email us and we'll respond to you either directly or through our partners in your area. Thank you very much for tuning in and have a great afternoon. I'll now show you the full presentation, full animation.